We are back. Another episode of Make City Make Spence. I am Adam Hernandez. You can see my cat walking behind me, and with me in on the other side, up in up where the Detroit City will be playing here shortly,
Yep.
within the next couple of days for Open Cup. Sean
Yeah, 48
Spence.
hours from now we'll be in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, Graham Blank's about ready to go Rouge and Gold. Sean, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Yeah, the I can see the stadium from here, so from where I'm recording. And it looks it's spring break this week,
Hmm.
and it looks a little bit like they're about to begin a construction project in the parking lot. So I'm a little concerned, like, oh,
That would be so Open Cup if like they completely forget to let the construction company know that hey, there's a football match happening.
yeah, there's probably gonna be a couple thousand people here on Wednesday night. So
Yeah. So there's gonna be like instead, that was and real quick, Sean, because I know we're gonna get to Open Cup here in just a little bit. We got a pretty straightforward show tonight, like I was telling Sean beforehand. We're gonna
right.
be covering the big win, the nice win against Charleston Battery, previewing the Open Cup, and then we've got Rhode Island this coming weekend as well. But one quick thing though, one of the best things though about Open Cup, yes, it's like the shithousery surrounding it, and just the quirkiness of especially some of those early round games where you would have, in some cases like MLS USL championship teams sometimes playing in what looks to be like a public park
Yeah,
or something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Pick
And
a
and and
park.
and that would be so like Open Cup, seeing like Detroit City playing the Flint City Bucks in some high school stadium with like ditch diggers and excavators in the
Right.
background,
I mean, it may be.
doing
It looks like they've portioned off a portion. They've got portioned off some of the main parking lot,
yeah.
and then some space next to it. So I don't know if they're expanding the parking lot or shrinking it, and there's going to be another building in there that they're beginning construction on, or what. Like I will say that I live in downtown Grand Blanc, obviously because I can see the stadium from here. Um, Grand Blanc High School's facilities are no joke. Like they, this is a this is a white flight community, which means it's got a shitload of money.
Hmm.
And the public schools are an example of just how strong the property tax game is down here. And yeah, they have to find places to stash things, to stash all this money. So like big stadiums, yep, they've got
Yeah.
two of them. The one I think we're playing in is called Don Bachelor Stadium. I think Don
Hmm.
Bachelor Field. I think that is the new stadium. But there is the old stadium is fine. It's probably better than than the stadiums that the Flint schools play in, and it's just like the JV stadium now, or like the back. It's back there a ways and on the campus. But like when my kids were in high school, that's where they played. Um, so yeah, wild.
Yeah. And we're gonna be getting to a little bit of Open Cup here just shortly. But first we got to get to
First,
that 1-0 win, impressive 1-0 win over the Charleston Battery this past Saturday afternoon.
yep,
Sean, Darren Smith once again coming up big, scoring, I believe it was the 76th or the 78th minute. I should have that in front of me already, but I don't.
yep.
Um, but Sean, I was thinking about this. Two quick things for me before I turn it over to you. Um, One, it would have been an absolute shame if they didn't come away with 3 points in this match, given the way that they were playing, given the way that they looked like the better team from the opening whistle to the final whistle. And as far as Darren Smith goes, yes, he is on fire. Yes, this looks like last season with him. But something that I was thinking about yesterday, and I was mentioning it in the post game stuff, that Darren Smith isn't new to USL Championship. He isn't new to this ecosystem of second tier US
Right.
soccer. The tape is already out on him. Um, Other teams already know about him. So I think in that respect, what he's able to do right now is impressive from that standpoint because other teams should be able to neutralize him based on what you would think based on what happened last season, the second half of the year, but
Yeah.
that's not happening. He's able to overcome what happened the second half of last season and is been arguably the best player in all of USL Championship up to this point.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that there aren't still concerns, and we've talked about those concerns in past episodes. But based on that alone, based on him not being some unknown player who was, in some of the lower divisions overseas prior to last season, teams should be very well aware of what Darren Smith is,
Right.
what he can do, and in some sense, what he can't do. So, but he is out there doing it right now. He is finishing those chances. He is making the most of those opportunities. And the only thing you can hope for right now is that it continues.
Yeah, uh, he is finishing the chances really well. And um it's remarkable to me how similar his goals have been.
Hmm.
He takes a long ball on the turner on the half turn, and the in the first match when he kind of ran onto Devon's ball with first touch and scored. In this
Hmm.
match, I had that brilliant chest trap to open space for himself. But he's getting into situations where he can take a touch or two and finish, and he's
Hmm.
doing it like lethally. Um, but also he's contributing more to in like he looks to me to be contributing more on the defensive end. He's doing a lot more grinding without the ball. He is leading the line a little more consistently in terms of giving an effort to and what that top striker does, like even though we're playing kind of a 4-4-2 in our press, and so Maxi or whoever's playing in that role steps forward to join him in that forward role. But generally that like it's the striker who's further it's whoever's furthest forward when the ball turns over who has the job of forcing it to one side and keeping it clamped in. Don't let them the first thing is don't let them reverse the ball. Like try to
Hmm.
trap them on one side, and then you can everybody can slide over into position, and you can make it hard. If you let them out the first pass, which we did a lot last year, like we would turn the ball over and allow the other team to kind of just work around the horn, and so you never get any angles, you never get set, you never get into a position where you're kind of on the front foot defensively. um and this year, or so far, in the early going, we are seeing him do that. Like he really is pushing and grinding more. And it's not something that's going to show up in counting stats at all. But like I would guess that if we had detailed numbers, we'd see that he's doing a few more pressures, a few more sprints. Hey, Cat. Um, I'm all for cat participation. Um, really, he's been super impressive, and it's not just like he's kind of fluky and finishing things. He's playing well all around. Um, he's not been a complete black hole. There have been times where we've gone to him, and there were times last year where it felt like you just like unless he's in a position to finish, you can't give him the ball because he's going to try to finish. you
Yeah.
know, and turn it over. So, but he's not doing that this year. He'll get it and realize, I don't really have a look, and pull it back. And I don't know, just the decision making seems to be better. I'm enjoying all of it. Um, like, but I guess what I would say about that is that this is the early season,
Hmm.
and a lot of the positives we're seeing are related to the ability to expend energy. So as the season goes on, you're not going to have those ready stores of easy energy to get to. You're not going to feel great and want to run, unless we rotate a ton, which we seem to be doing a little more of, and we're going to be forced to do a little more of because of the injuries, which we'll get to in a minute.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I am very impressed by what I've seen so far. But I would say that it is entirely the product of the team seems to be playing with a lot of clarity and with a lot of energy, and the one time we kind of saw the energy level drop a bit was against Indy 11, and that was the one match we lost. So um that's a challenge. A lot of what makes the really great managers great is that they can inspire the players to, through fear or whatever, to consistently bleed themselves in that way. And I think in a lot of ways it's that tension, the tension of expending energy today but needing it later, that makes watching an entire season of a sport like an interesting enterprise. You know, if it was just like batteries, in 4 hours the players are back to 100% and they can go again. The season would not have it would be a whole variable taken away from the fascinating equation of a season of football. So that's where I guess that's where I am. Is I'm impressed, but cautiously impressed because you know this is how Danny's teams have started every year,
Hmm.
and they have stumbled after the first month and a half every season. So avoiding that would go a long way to legitimizing his claims upon this much power within our organization.
And I mean, and that's a good point to bring up because I mean, you can relate this specifically to Darren Smith just because he's been, last year and this year look similar from the standpoint of, Darren's goal output and just the team success overall. Um, what do you think are the keys, or what do you think is something that they need to do to make sure that this is sustainable? Because obviously, the big concern is falling back into a position like they were last year, where things got off to a hot start, and then all of a sudden they just came spiraling back down to earth. A couple of things that I'm seeing off the bat right now is you have Atez Diop, much more of a presence, um, in this starting 11 as opposed to last season when it was tough to get him in. But it also seems like another missing piece from last year that we didn't have in the first half of the season is Kobe Hernandez Foster, who's looked really, really good
Yes.
so far this season. And another
Yeah.
guy too,
Yeah.
Sean, is
Haruki?
Jasiel Cedeno and
Oh,
Haruki.
Giselle
I'm sorry too.
Cedeno. Like, okay,
Yeah.
so the thing is, it's the younger players, right?
Hmm.
It's all
Yes.
the younger guys. Like this is why you bring younger players in, like because
Hmm.
they get better while they're playing for you,
Yeah.
and we're watching it happen. And yeah, I was incredibly impressed with Jesse L when he took over for Maxi, because he slid infield and played in the Maxi role,
Yep.
and Preston uh, went to the right wing,
Hmm.
and played as a conventional right winger. And honestly, like I think we looked better uh, after Maxi went off. And I don't mean that as a slam on Maxi, but the energy level was very high.
Yep.
It's we're not I'm not used to seeing Detroit City looking the quicker team. Um,
Yes.
And we really, especially once Jesse L went infield and he had Preston on the right and Ates on the left and Darren up top. Um, it was really um, we really had a lot of pace on the pitch, and as the match went on, like we broke them down to the point where they were not even putting together coherent attacks in the last half hour. They were just like, fuck it, like booting it long. We were circulating it immediately. Um, and, probably should have had at least one other goal.
Hmm.
Um, uh, we had the ball in the net 3 times. We won 1-0. Um, created quite a few chances. I think we had 22 shots. So like all the numbers look good. The thing that concerns me a little bit, and I think that your question is what do we need to do to keep this going? Well, I
Sure.
think we
Yep.
need we need to get other people scoring goals. Um,
Yes.
um, it can't be Darren. Um, on those very specific kind of situations.
Sure.
Like we're not set up to try to play long to Darren. Like it's the fourth option,
Hmm.
and so we'll do it occasionally. Like they'll kind of seal everything off, and we'll be like, oh, might as well try this. And clearly it's a good one when it happens, but it's a long pass. It's you're hoping for a crit, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and anything else is like, you know, keeper gets it. It's fine. So the other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit in terms of the matches, you can really see some of the things they're doing tactically are really working. And I'm talking about like Charleston, like I feel like Charleston came out to press us and we kind of scared them off of it. We're not just beating the press and pulling the ball back and settling. Like there's a clear inclination to punish people for pressing us, and like there was very early. I don't know, it was third minute, fifth minute, something. We had possession, and one of the changes we made is including Carlos Herrera in our possession. And so he had stepped really high like a sweeper keeper, and we went around the horn. We got trapped on the left side. We went around the horn using Carlos as an intermediary and got the ball to Haruki on the like and just did it very cleanly, like bang 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 over to Haruki, and they were still completely overshifted because of how cleanly we'd done all that. If somebody has to fumble or has a pop-up touch or fucks around with it, it doesn't happen that way. It has to be perfect and it has to be clean in order for what opened up to open up. But it was, and Haruki could just storm down that right channel, and he wound up getting that left-footed shot that kind of sailed like 4 inches high and wide, um, but was really kind of an early warning of what was coming from us for Charleston. And um, all of that happens because of the way they've set up possession, and because we've they've gone with Carlos Herrera and not Carlos Saldana, which is I think kind of a guy who's better with his feet than the shot stopper, basically.
Hmm.
Um, and um, that, and the fact that we now have Kobe to start the season. Um, we are just like beating the shit out of presses. Like we are passing through them really neatly. It's like it is a balm to my soul to
It
see
is.
pure
Yeah.
field play. Like, oh my God, dude, it's so good. Ryan Williams is like all the pieces are kind of like like really, really looking nice. I am incredibly impressed with what I'm seeing so
Um,
far. So
and I also love that you mentioned Kobe too, just because um, during this early stretch of games right now, I mean, I mean, people are going to look towards Darren, which is fair and obvious just because of what he's been able to do as far as scoring goals. But I think Kobe once again is, is one of those is a player who, maybe a dark horse at this point is maybe one of the best players or has been maybe the best player for Detroit City based on, the tactically what they're trying to do and how they're executing it and how
Yeah.
they're successful at being at executing it.
Yeah. But I
Um,
mean, everyone's playing well right now.
sure, yeah.
Really, you kind of go like, Tommy Silva been like just like you'd think he was like 30, he was like a 33-year-old we brought in
Hmm.
on a 1 year deal. Like he's just so solid and smart. Plays within himself, understands the game. Like this is a kid. Like, okay, well, awesome.
One
um,
other thing too that's impressed
yeah,
me too, Sean, is the amount of corners that they've been able to generate. Um, they got eight on Saturday against Charleston. And that's coming off what did they have like 11 or something against Indy?
yeah, they had a
Um,
ton.
yeah, they had a ton of corners against Indy. Yeah, it was
and
11
like
to
and
5.
like nine of them they went short because meat
Yeah,
wall.
but it just seems like in past seasons they've had trouble generating corners a lot of the times. I may be remembering that totally
No, I
incorrectly,
think
but
yeah, like um you know the fear is that you're gonna lose the defensive solidity which has characterized you, but like in some ways, if you're choosing one or the other, like either we're going to be a team that knows how to score goals and it's not going to feel the way it's felt essentially forever, that like goals are this kind of completely random gift from the heavens that you just, all you can do is like stretch out your hat and like shake it at the soccer gods and hope they drop one in there.
sure.
Like there's not much you can do to make it happen. Um, and it doesn't feel that way now.
Hmm.
And conversely, you know, the defense felt shaky in moments against Indy, but really against Charleston, like we just took them apart. Like
Yeah,
they,
defense looked good, very good.
the defense looked good.
Hmm.
Like, it really Callum Montgomery, he like you can see he's got some holes in his game, right? There's like, okay, well, I can see why he's not a Division 1 player, but at the same time, he is left-footed and he is rather tall. And he's not like a hot mess out there. Um, and when you're alongside Devin, like, and you're the tallest guy on the roster, like, okay, well, he's good in the air. He knows to throw himself at things. He's experienced, and Devin looks great. Um, I think he doesn't you don't get that sense of like wild desperation that you got from him sometimes last year, where
Hmm.
he'd take off dribbling and it didn't feel like he was like having a moment of inspiration. It was more like he was like, somebody's got to, like, fuck, you
Yeah,
know?
he's trying to do too much.
Right. And,
Hmm.
um, you just don't, he doesn't feel that way this year.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, times have been good. So maybe
Times
that's
have been
why.
good. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see when maybe there's some animosity
Right.
sprinkled into the situations and
But I mean,
whatnot.
yeah, if like really reviewing Saturday's match, like that is one of the best 1-0 wins I can remember. Like
Yep.
just felt secure.
Hmm.
Like a couple times when they got the ball and moved over it, through midfield. It's like, come on, like you get that little kind of queasiness because you're like, if they score now, like that will feel really unjust.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
won't be like, a little disappointing. It'll be like, that's ridiculous. You did
Yeah.
not deserve this.
And I mean, City isn't immune to any types of those, situations as well. I mean, I remember one, it was what was it, the Tampa Bay game a couple of years ago when Detroit looked really, really good. I think it was Elvis Amo that got like the go-ahead goal or the first goal of the night. And Tampa came back and just scored in stoppage, and it was one of those games where you were looking at it and you're like, man, how could this game get away from us? And like I said, that's what I was ultimately worried about with this one too. Is it just getting away from us in the sense that we give up that lead? We have to share points, or God forbid, they end up, Charleston ends up getting two and
Yeah. Yeah.
completely stealing a win in Detroit. And it makes it better too, just because it's a Ben Perman team coming in there and
Yeah.
getting shut out, getting beat by Detroit City,
That
and
is that's the worst beating we've given a Ben Pearman team, I think. Now, maybe not in terms of goals, like I think we won by more, but in terms of like
mhm.
just like winning the match on the field and like
Yeah,
feeling like okay, we're better than you.
it was one of
Um,
those things where Ben didn't have any answers
right,
for what was being
right.
thrown against him.
Yeah, change the shape a little bit, threw different people on, nothing mattered. They just like, we just kind of swallowed it all up.
Yeah.
Um and then, like it clearly had a lot of depth. Like, we had a lot of people come on. I mean,
hmm
we Preston came on and then had to sub off. That's I did want to mention the injuries. It's a little
Yes,
concerning
yes,
in the
definitely.
fourth match of the year to have two guys who can't go 90 because they've had soft tissue Injuries. Maxi, it looked like a hamstring. It like it. The thing about that is, we haven't heard anything.
hmm
Um, but sometimes hamstrings can feel really terrible and not be terrible. It could be more of a cramp where, an hour and a half later, he's kind of like, I mean, it hurts, but I'm okay. Um, or it could be anything from, a week off to, you know, constantly fucking up the rest of his career. So, hey, um,
Best case, absolute worst case.
right. Um, and then Preston, it looked like a groin pull, adductor muscle. He kind of opened his body trying to take that shot, and he scuffed the shot a little bit, and I think that unbalanced him, and he pulled something there.
God, immediately
Uh,
when you hear about that, though, Sean, you hear about groin pulls, you automatically think of like Elvis against North
right.
Carolina FC that one season where they were going off, and all of a sudden Elvis goes down, and it just kind of takes the wind out of the sails for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, Elvis was the centerpiece of that
Exactly.
attack.
Yeah, yeah. Apples
And
and oranges, I know.
right. And also like that was what happened to Elvis was an like the worst kind of like it was a groin tear that I think the muscle came off of the bone,
Yeah,
so they had to like rebuild the hook that on your bone like yeah, like it popped that hook off of his bone. He broke
yeah,
it off, Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It hurts.
But yeah,
So
I mean,
yeah.
you're right with these injuries though. I mean, you've got Maxi, you've got Ataka Preston, you've got, I mean, even some of the other guys who we haven't really seen featured yet. Ben obviously, but you wonder what's going on with Connor. You wonder what's going on with Reese, if they're dealing with injury, if they're just not, finding making their
I
way into the
mean,
rotation.
I don't know if Reese might still be here, but Connor looked fine in the Open Cup match. So Connor's just not in the rotation.
Yeah,
It looks to me like you know, most of the Trev guys are
yeah,
barely in the reckoning.
yeah.
Um, so
And then Michael also too, who
Michael's right. Yeah,
again,
that's right.
who I
And
can,
yeah, I don't at this point when he gets healthy, I don't think he'll storm back into the lineup. You know, I could see him being, rotated
especially they're
in,
not playing well. Yeah.
right. You know, but yeah, like it's tough, but like unless if you get hurt and the other guys keep clean sheets, you're probably just gonna watch a lot. You
It's
know?
tough too, in a sense, Sean, because this is a one of those contract years for Michael, because I
Yeah,
believe he's out of contract after this season.
I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's tough from that sense as a professional athlete. I can only assume. Um, so yeah, injuries definitely. I mean, it was definitely wasn't a perfect game. Um, and City is continuing to deal with injuries, but you have to assume that Preston and Maxi will not be seeing any time in the pitch um, this coming
Unlikely.
Wednesday night when they head north to Grand Blanc, Sean's neck of the woods, to take on the Flint City Bucks in the second round of the U.S. Open Cup. Um, Again, like always, though, Sean, I'm assuming it's going to be a heavily rotated lineup for Detroit City. They're
Yeah.
probably going
The,
to.
I don't know. I don't know how Danny handles these things, honestly. I think he
Mhm.
kind of did he did half and halves
Mhm.
um against the Western Michigan side, the Rangers.
Yeah,
Uh I don't know if he's going to do something similar. That it would kind of worry me a bit if we came out as weakened as we did because the Bucks have a lot of pedigree in the
sure.
Open Cup. And that's not necessarily a thing I don't know whether Danny would know that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, surely, uh, Brad is telling him that,
Uh-huh.
you know, but, yeah, we should be able to handle them, regardless of how rotated we are honestly. And this does give like Rio Hope Gund, and Elijah and
Alex
uh,
Alou.
Alex DeLu. Exactly. I would have said Preston, but he's probably not going to. But like, gives those guys a chance to stay sharp, and we'll probably see some of the younger guys will get minutes. Hopefully, some of the older guys will be able to take a
Hmm.
little time off since
Yeah.
we don't want to start grinding people down this early in the season. It will be cold. I know it's really warm. We're in fully in Michigan weather time. It's like it was like 75 degrees today. It'll be like 40. It'll be cold and windy um on Wednesday night. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be raining. I know there's been they're calling for showers earlier on in the day. I don't know if it's going to be wrapped up by
yeah,
then, but
it looks to me like it's going to be cleared up.
yeah.
We've got a little window in there where it's not supposed to rain a lot, um, which is wild because like until like a day ago, it was saying it's going to rain all day.
Hmm.
So the forecast is moving in the right direction right now.
Now I've got to know, Sean, are you actually going to leave your balcony and go into the stadium and watch it? Or are
I
you?
have today I emailed the Flint City Bucks to see
Uh-huh.
whether they have give passes for this sort of thing. But yes, I do plan to. I will be making pizza pies. Like like I got an order for there's a Methodist church near us that has like a big sort of food giveaway once a quarter, and our pizzas are a big part of it. So I've got to make like 25 larges.
On Wednesday?
Yeah, tomorrow
Ah.
or Wednesday afternoon. So yeah, I will be. You know, we've been understaffed for quite a while, and so I've had to work way more than I usually work. Um, uh, but I think I can stagger across the parking lot. And if I don't like, maybe I'll just like cling to the fence and like watch through the fence like I'm a local kid. What are you? What is this game, you guys? Oh, yeah, yeah. I ugh.
So
It's
yeah,
weird. Like I just assumed it was going to be at Atwood, but I guess Atwood is still mothballed. Like it's too early, and the Open Cup was moved a couple of months earlier than
Yes.
usual this year, which is tough for the amateur sides. Like,
I don't know
uh,
how they do it. I really don't know how
yeah,
they do it.
like
Um,
dude, it's still March. How are
yeah.
we how are they playing? I know that their keeper is the University of Michigan keeper. His name's Goodson. He made like a million saves against well, I mean like six, but against Madison.
Uh-huh.
Um, so, you know, he's hot, hot keeper, but like all we need to do is get an early one and break their spirit and then it can turn into an easy evening like it was in the tin can.
Yeah. Um, what was Trevor's outlook on the Open Cup? How did he feel about it? Um, was it something that Trevor was it important to him in the sense that he wanted to win it and he would,
Um,
I don't want to say he would pull out all the stops to win it, but
no,
was
I
he
think
that
that
concerned about win? You know what I'm saying here? Like, I don't know.
um well I think that Trevor tended to approach, and I think this is probably true of most managers. They really just approach like there's a lot of variables that determine kind of how you prepare for a match and how you who you select for or whatever. And it being a knockout match that could go 120 minutes.
Yeah.
Um and and that you look at the state of the roster, you know, is ever like um if our depth is, if your depth is pretty good and people are pretty healthy, then you can throw some people at it. But if it does happen in context. Now I will say that like any manager, Trev was aware when playing a higher division team. When we play MLS sides, like you don't have to do a lot of goosing. The players know. Like, no, we're here. We are absolutely here to prove a point.
Hmm.
We are here to demonstrate the error of their ways. You could have had us, but you trifling. And so the motivation is very clear, and I think he did take it very seriously when the competition was higher level. Um, but like any manager, you sometimes you're looking at it as it can be kind of the extra matches can be a burden
Hmm.
when you're trying to like get through a stretch where everybody's injured or whatever. Um, so yeah, I don't think there was a clear through line in my mind. Like he did he wasn't one of those like I think because he grew up with the FA Cup and the importance of the FA Cup being so huge, like
Yeah.
he did have an idea that like the Open Cup is a way as a lower level team to kind of make your mark and put your establish the credibility of your football. And you're not just the lucky guys who had 1,500 people show up at your first match. You're also a
Hmm.
team that like plays credible football and Trev built teams from the back forward. So that defensive solidity tends to put you on good footing against in a game like football against a stronger team. Like you can
Hmm.
stand them off and slow the game down and make it a low incident game and have a puncher's chance. And you know, uh we had some magical times there. Beating the Crew in what was that 23 uh
23. Was it 22 or 23?
22 23. um
I think it was 22 because was that our first year in USL championship?
y- yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, I think it was 22 then, I want to say. Um,
yes, yeah, I don't remember my brain. doesn't work too well. Um, time to sweep the cat boxes. Um, the Yeah, I think that um, I thought it was really interesting the way Danny set up the team against Rangers to
Hmm.
kind of with clear, like okay, these are subs that are going to happen at halftime. Um, you know, it's hard to, is it hard to go through with that if instead of up, 3-1, you're down 2-0? Um, that's where it gets tricky to me is, what if you go in there and like just fall on your ass and you start Carlos Saldana and he just doesn't look sharp and they get a couple half chances and score them both and it's like fuck, you
Hmm.
know well you've got kind of got your starters out there and you're going to swap people out at halftime, but do you now, or is this where and this is a decision that like has like reverberates through the season, like you know, let's say you leave the starters on, you're like, this is a matter of pride now. Get out there and rescue this. And they do, but two more of them get hurt,
Hmm.
you know? And now that's on you. Like I mean, partially on them because they played like shit in the first half. Like, so there's no perfect answer, like it can go wrong any way you do it.
Sure.
And getting these things right is the difference between being mediocre and being great. So, we'll see.
And it's something you got to manage very, very carefully too, in which way you want to, and how you approach it and everything,
Right.
because you have a league game coming up Saturday on the road in Rhode Island. And I'm going to be highlighting two games here, Sean, because I think it's very, very important that you go into those games and get a result. You've got Rhode Island, who's struggling so far to open up the season, and then you've got Sporting Jacksonville the following week at home. Again, another team, new team in the league, much like Brooklyn. I believe that they're at the bottom of the table right now, currently in the East. Um, but after those two matches, Sean, you've got to go on the road April 18th against the defending champions in the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, a team that, Detroit, and that's always a kind of one of those gritty kind of grinded out matches every single time that they play, and then they come back home on May 2nd to host Lou City, who are off to a typical Lou City start. So you've got two matches coming up consecutively against Rhode Island and Sporting Jacksonville, um, that I don't want to say you need to come away with 6 points, but um, it's important that you get as many points out of those two matches as you possibly can because of
Yeah.
what is on the horizon after that.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, I feel like you need to get 6 points. I feel like if you drop any points in these two matches, it's a little disappointing. But the main
Hmm.
thing, but it could happen by just variance.
Sure.
Um, and so say you get 4 points from those matches. What if you're still playing at that same level that you were playing against Charleston, or you're still sort of really dominating the tilt of the field and dominating the real chances that are being created, and
Hmm.
um, like um, then I would be pretty sanguine.
Yeah.
Because like this is a chance. It's almost like I mean our schedule has worked out almost like an extended preseason. A lot of the really potentially very bad teams in the East, which there are some potentially historically bad teams in the East.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and Jacksonville is one of them. Um, and we 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 get a couple more weeks to kind of get our mojo going before we go on the road to Pittsburgh. which is always a tough place to play. It's in a lot of the same ways, same reasons that Keyworth is tough.
Yep.
It's a kind of a rough, hard, narrow field. Um, but you know, I've watched Pittsburgh. I see their results are not terrible, but I don't like we could be looking at it in a month saying that like, okay, we might be the best team in the league.
Hmm.
Um, there's like you've got a runway to make that happen. To you've got a couple more weeks to kind of work out the kinks, get people, try to get guys healthy, try to keep guys healthy, and then a couple of big matches that would be, if you get results in those two matches, now everybody, the whole league is talking about it, right? Like, oh shit,
Hmm.
look what Detroit City's doing. Now we've been here before, right? Um, People like we've watched the league go Detroit City early in the season, and then just sort of go quiet about us as as it falls apart. Um, and what I think the likely, we talk about decisions reverberating through the season. Um, Part of it, I think, is just being willing to say, okay, I didn't quite get that right. Um, and go back and just be honest and transparent about like, it's if you've got people if you've got people kind of pulling at blame, um, it's like it gets it into the water. You know what I mean? Um, and you can't help it. Like you can't help but like you have to be if people are going to start blaming each other, like you have to speak up because you're going to get blamed, and you have to say, well, no, that's not right. Um, and it like so if we can survive some little adversity without having emotional ripples that upset the team like dynamic for like a season. um and instead just kind of like keep playing well, like maybe we'll keep playing well enough that we won't ask anything emotionally of the team that they can't handle. That would be great, I guess. You could just sort of outplay your precocity. um but alternately we could mature as humans and like learn to handle some adversity and like and learn how to be honest and forthright without being like blamey dickweeds. And I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I'm very interested to see how they if they can maintain this level of connection and you know uh, it's fascinating. It's the best football I've seen for a while from a Detroit City team. Like this is very good.
And
Um,
speaking of adversity, that's something that Rhode Island is certainly dealing with right now. It would seem like coming off a 2-1 loss to Miami. They're on a two-game skid right now. They actually looked pretty good against Lou City back on March 21st. Um, I think they ended up getting a red, I want to say, in that game. I thought they did. Actually, it's not looking like they did at all. Um, they actually did look pretty good.
did you dream this?
I guess I did dream it, but they did look pretty good in that game. Um, on a little bit of a skid right now. I want to say they had a lot of turnover too in the off season. I
Yeah.
remember they went and they spent a bunch of money prior to last year, and then obviously things didn't work out, and they kind of did in some sense what Charleston did, kind of scaling back. But
It's
it's
like
going to be
nobody announces scaling back, right? They just
no,
sort of
nobody says
like
it. Yeah.
it's just sort of like you just notice like, man, I have those guys signed anybody? Like, oh, they signed a couple guys that I've never heard of from like, League One and MLS Next. Like,
Sure.
okay, I mean that's a good strategy if you got good scouting.
It's I'm
But
assuming it's
it's
what people thought
but
of
it's not
Detroit
like
City
Aaron
when
Malloy, you
yeah,
know.
right, right. Now, where's Cal Jennings going? Where's Aaron Malloy
Yeah,
going? But
exactly. Did they
it's
go to the same? Are they both at Lexington? Where'd Cal Jennings go?
he went to Japan, didn't he?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I think he went to Japan. Which is weird. Yeah,
That's
that's
no, that's fucking awesome.
yeah. Well, it's weird that I don't know if it's the
Is he a
same.
weeb?
I well, I don't know. I don't know if he went to first division Japan or if he went to second division Japan, and like
Yeah, but who gives a
where
shit? Like,
I think it was.
just being paid to like go immerse in another culture.
Oh,
That'd be
sure.
fucking cheap.
I think that is more of a reflection too on the financial situation that players are probably in here, where players like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna pick up and go halfway around the world and play in Japan because I'm not earning shit here
Right. Yeah.
in second
Yeah. I
division
mean, and
U.S.
Cal Jennings,
soccer.
if someone's earning some money in the USL Championship, you have to figure Cal Jennings would be one of those people.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Like he's a proven goal scorer who's in
Uh-huh.
his prime.
Mm-hmm.
You can play multiple positions and like fit into a lot of different schemes. It has good defensive output. Um, yeah, he's just sort of has a desirable profile.
Yeah.
Nobody can pay him. Okay, well, yeah, go overseas, dude.
Yeah, go overseas, live it up, and yeah, a cool place. I can only imagine Japan too. I'd like to go to Japan. I've seen pictures, I've heard stories of how what it's like going to visit there, and it sounds great. But when it comes to real,
I I don't know. I'm not trying to fluff Japan. I'm just saying
no,
going into any other culture and just sort of, like the way you
experiencing
could
it.
as a pro footballer where, you've
Yeah.
got 12 hours a day just sort of like, okay, now go hang out. Like, all right.
Um, One last thing with Rhode Island from me, Sean. It'll be interesting to see how it's rotated going into this one because right now they are playing well. You would think that if Maxi is, let's say 70%, um, I still don't say you put him out on the pitch just
Yeah,
because
no,
of the
I
way
don't.
that the team around him has been playing, especially somebody like Jasiel, who like you said actually looked better out there. The team looked better, the flow looked better than when Maxi was out there. And again,
Well,
no shade to Maxi,
I
but
was a little surprised, I think his physical output was a little more like than I thought that he was going to be able to bring. You know what I'm saying? Like he's doing a lot. He's covering a lot of ground. He's it's still not like a guy who like arrives with a thud. He's kind of like he's soft footed. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And that shows up when he's trying to tackle the ball too. He very seldom like kind of pokes at it or whatever. He'll try to like pull it away from you.
yeah,
You know, he tries to like just dribble away. Um and sometimes it works, it's wild. But like, not not as big, like not a huge decline in like defensive output moving him to the middle, which is kind of what I assumed was going to be the problem. Like when it happened, it's like, okay, well, when Preston subbed on, I'm like, this will be interesting. I wonder if Preston's going in the middle or if Jesse can do that. And then right away it was clearly Jesse. And I was like, and I was looking for problems and there were none. In fact, it looked really good. So I was,
pleasantly surprised.
yeah, it was, I've watched the match twice and enjoyed the whole goddamn time. Like, it was such a weird experience. Thank you, gentlemen, for this display of like heroic competence. Um,
Well, let's close things out tonight. If you don't have anything else, Sean, with getting our predictions in, we could go ahead and get our predictions in for these next two matches against Flint City in the Open Cup and then Rhode Island this Saturday. So we'll start off with Flint City. Sean, who do you have? You're going with Flint City, right? Because that's your kind of hometown
No,
team.
no, no. I had many chances over the years to become a one of the supporters the Bucks shunned, but I evaded that fate, and they're always the Bucks to me. Um, and I think it's going to be 4-0
4-0.
City. Um, yeah, I think that uh, if I'm guessing, Flint is going to try to establish early on that they're not afraid. You know what I mean? Like they're going to be like, and I think like if the way we're playing right now, that we are going to demonstrate why fear was a proper like approach.
Hmm.
Like, oh, you want to come out and play us? Okay, well, you shouldn't have done that. Um, so that's my prediction for that.
I'm gonna go 4-1 City. Um, yeah, and moving on to the third round of the U.S. Open Cup.
Yeah, where it gets
Whoever,
tricky.
yeah. I think MLS teams will be coming in at that point. I
You know,
believe
I'm not
so.
sure this year. It's like slightly shortened this year,
Yeah,
right?
because of World Cup.
World Cup. So I'm sure MLS teams. I don't know if all of them join, but I'm sure some of them come in third round.
Yep. And then we've got Rhode Island this coming Saturday in Rhode Island. Sean, what are you thinking?
I think City win, but it's like 2-1. Um, nah, 2-0. I think we're gonna. I just I love the way we played against Charleston. I think these are teams that are not as good as Charleston. Um, and and we've kind of consistently played this way. I mean they blowtorch Rangers not just by like winning a bunch of one-on-one battles, but by you know being really quick and clear with the ball and making a lot of good decisions with the ball. Um, and that's what I'm seeing is that like there's not a lot of whatever football. There's not a lot of like I dribbled into a blind corner and now I'm just kind of hooking across into nobody. You
Hmm.
know, um, the it seems like they're making good decisions in the moment about how the like they're being realistic. Like for example, like say like so I'm talking about like Haruki, for example, kind of trying the infield dribbling move, but like I think maybe the third time he did it, like they really hyper reacted to it. Like four guys were like, no. and he and instead of doing what I assumed he was going to do, which is like blunder all the way into it, he pulled it back and like and swung it back the other way. And I saw the same thing from Jesse L. At another point where I kind of assumed like oh he's gonna you know like in my head I've kind of already played it out like oh he's on his favored left, but this defender has a decent angle and he's just gonna string him out and string him out and string him out and eventually Jesse's just gonna give up and like thwack a hopeless shot on goal, and he didn't do that. He kind of realized like okay well I'm not gaining any advantage
Hmm.
here and like kind of and pulled it back and kind of reset. And uh, at other times they're taking advantage of an overload or displaying a little incision or a little urgency where in the past they haven't made those connections. There hasn't been that awareness sometimes, like, where you're like, it's there, go. What are we doing? They're kind of sluggishly, like, well, we're thinking about, oh shit, yeah, I guess if we'd done that right away, yeah, exactly. It's gone now. Um, and there's just very little of that right now.
Yeah.
And um I feel like I'm jinxing it talking about it. But also, if I didn't talk about it, people would be like, "All you ever say is negative shit."
Yeah, exactly.
So, um,
Exactly.
this is like, for early season football, this has been phenomenal football to
Mhm.
me.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take DCFC two. I had 2-1 also written down, Sean. So I'm going 2-1 City this weekend against Rhode Island. I just looked too. Rhode Island has to play Hartford in the Open Cup Wednesday
Oh
night.
boy.
So yeah, not the I don't want to say that yeah, I don't want to say anything's easy in the Open Cup.
No.
But yeah,
You have
going
to
up.
assume that like out of season, like semi-pro sides are an easier foe than
Yes.
your league, a better team in your own league.
Yes. Yes. Um,
Like, oh
we
shit.
Yeah, it's not like we're going up against Lou City in the Open Cup this Wednesday
Right.
night, which,
Right.
but I mean, and not that Hartford's Lou City, but yeah. Who would you rather, go up against with a match, a quick turnaround, for a league match Saturday? Would you rather go up against a USL League Two team, or would you rather go up against a USL Championship team?
Right.
I would
Right.
want to go up against a League Two team.
Right. Right. They're not even in season. Like they barely know each
Right,
other, right?
right,
They've trained twice.
yeah.
And that counts the match they played that they won.
Which it makes it that much more impressive for them being able to go out there and beat a USL League One side. And
Yeah.
same thing with like a team like Vermont Green too, who is kind of been making, aside from winning USL League Two last year, but kind of going out and continuing to make their mark in um in the Open Cup.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so.
And they beat the Mainers, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Team that beat
so
us.
right. Yeah. I what was I just thinking of? Shit. I just lost it. Sorry, my cat came over and started touching me, and I completely lost my train of thought.
Ponyboy saying it's time to eat, Dad.
Exactly. That was exactly right. He's like, "You about done? You about done, right?" Like, I'm ready for these treats, man. Uh, this is a, treat fixated cat. Um, oh, yeah, like the idea that they're going to have a whole lot of cohesion. I mean, they can have a lot of, they'll probably have decent one-on-one players, but they're probably not going to be really in shape uniformly, at least, not across the whole side. And they're going to have exploitable problems with connection and communication. Um, eh, and I think it may be sort of a kind of a indication that Madison is, you know, not going to have a great year. Um, that they laid an egg against Flint. But we'll see. Like, we'll go up there and just get smoked and be like, oh, it'll be completely. We'll be like, all respect to Madison, who put a better performance on the field than we managed. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen though.
No, I don't think so either.
I'm,
I fully.
I'm interested to see whether we get Connor as in the Kobe role.
Hmm.
Um, because that's what he played in the against Rangers, and they did try to press us, but it was really,
They did. It didn't work out for them though.
yeah, it was really a bad idea,
Yeah.
and like I think if you watch last year's film and you're looking at this team and going, this is a team with a lot of continuity, like they're probably pretty similar. It's like no, 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 like yeah, we could not handle the press last year, and it looks like they've spent 8 months working on that, because you press us and we're like, oh yeah, fuck you. How's that? We just create another chance. and the professional sides get the message really quickly. That like nobody has pressed us very long.
Hmm.
They'll come up and they'll run on it at us for 10 minutes and we'll we knife through them and they're like, "Whoosh, okay, woo, mid block, everybody back." And that's why we wind up with like 65% possession because they can't press us, and that's been everyone's plan against us. I'm curious how people will play against us now that we're established as a team that can keep the ball. Like it'll be
Hmm.
interesting to see that evolve. But whoever the group that put this tactic structure together was cooking, and I'm hoping that they can continue to cook as opponents show their next idea. Because right now we're like ahead of the jump, you know, uh, and long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're gonna see how things play out, and we'll have our reactions next Monday. Hopefully we're coming away with a you know a easy, non-stressful win against the Flint City Bucks, and we come away with 3 points
Yeah.
against Rhode Island. Do you have any final thoughts tonight, Sean?
No.
Same here. I think we said it all. So, but like I said, everyone, we'll be back next week to recap really the week that
We'll
was for
do it again,
Detroit.
man.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again. We're like that SpongeBob meme where he's pointing back, where he's like, "Hey, you want to see me do it again? That's gonna be us next week. You want to see us do it again? Well, we'll be doing it again next week."
We'll do it again. Who we kidding?
So for
One of these
Sean,
days I'm gonna have a camera.
one of these, yeah, it's one of these days. Nobody sees the
The man,
actual
the man behind the
the,
curtain.
that well the actual image that Sean has up right now, the Northern Lights
Yeah.
in the trees. But
Oh,
yeah,
that doesn't show.
it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't show on the actual.
Disappointing. I was being represented by, like activations in the ozone.
People would think you're like a secret Minnesota Aurora supporter, maybe with that.
I mean, I think it's a really cool project.
Yeah, you can
You know,
appreciate what they're doing.
best to
You can,
them.
yep,
Best to them.
absolutely. So anyways, like I said, you guys will be back again next week. So stay tuned for that. So for Sean, I'm Adam. Have a good rest of the night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this episode of Make City Make Spence. To see not only this one, but prior Make City Make Spence episodes, go to detroit.themajorsports.com where you can check out all of our catalog and all things going on with not only Detroit City FC centric content, but any Majors Detroit content in general. Additionally, you can find us on YouTube at The Majors TV. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you already haven't yet. And you can also find us on wherever you check social media stuff out. We are on Twitter and Instagram at TMSNX Detroit, Blue Sky at TMSNX Detroit, .bsky.social, and The Majors Detroit on Facebook. Additionally, wherever you check out your podcast, be sure to not only like and subscribe, but leave a 5-star review. It goes a long way in helping out all of our efforts here at The Majors Detroit. Thanks again, and catch you next time.